Welcome to the Bud's Beer Blurb podcast. You can catch all of our episodes on Bud's blog site at budsbeerblurb.com. We can be heard on Spotify, Amazon Music, SoundCloud, YouTube, and many other podcast sites. You can also find us on Instagram, Facebook, and TikTok. Just search at Bud's Beer Blurb. Be sure to like and follow us while you're there. Hello, everyone, and welcome to Bud's Beer Blurb, the podcast. I'm your host, Bud Esty, and my co-host, Mr. Nicholas J. Bigglesworth, will be joining us during our interviews. And holy hops and barley, Batman, do we have some interviews for you. First, Nick and I sat down with owner Ralph Fiegel and sales lead Jessica Houlker at Taylor Brook Brewery in Woodstock, Connecticut. We also have Jake Sweet and Maxx McNall of Dad's Day Brewing. This makes for a little bit of a longer episode than usual, but I'm trying to play catch up with all the interviews that I have on file so that my interviewees don't have to wait any longer. So let's kick this off with Ralph and Jess at Taylor Brook Brewing. We are in Woodstock, Connecticut at Taylor Brook Brewery, and we are going to be sitting down with owner Ralph Fiegel.
Correct.
And we have the sales lead, Jess Houlker. And I pronounced both of those names right?
Yes. Yeah. Absolutely perfect.
Sweet. Okay. And of course, I have my co-host, Nick Briggs, with us.
I got nothing.
Jeez, Nick, you're great. Now, Ralph, as I understand it, you are celebrating your 5th anniversary.
Yeah. Five years ago, we launched a brewery. It was a little bit coming. I started a brewery in Concord, Massachusetts called Saltbox Kitchen or Saltbox Brewery. I was a farm manager there, and we catered. I was chefing, and we had a little cooking school, and I taught people how to brew beer.
Wow.
Yeah. So
that's cool.
And we decided to start a restaurant, and inside the restaurant, we put a little 10 by 16 brewery.
That's kind of neat, though. So you almost had like a brew pub going on.
Yeah.
In a restaurant.
It's still going. So they're doing great. Nate's doing awesome up there.
Okay.
So they're on a 1-barrel system now, and when we launched back in 2019. I took the same 1-barrel concept as my pilot system.
Okay.
So while we were under construction and building a 10-barrel system here and all the layouts, nothing was connected. So I still needed to make beer. So I brewed everything on the 1-barrel system for our open.
Wow.
So it was pretty tough. We brewed a lot.
That's impressive.
Yeah.
Your opening weekend, I was here. My wife and I were here together, and this is before we started the blurb. I call it the blurb. And
I was still not at drinking age.
Yeah, that's actually true. No.
At just the age of 10 years.
No. But when we were here, you guys had a brown IPA, and I talked to you about this when I saw you at the No, that was Two Roads, right? Yes, we were Two Roads. There was a brown IPA here, and I tasted it, and I thought it was amazing. And I was so surprised about it that I actually started talking to the lady, I don't remember who it was, and asking about that beer. And she said, well, actually, that one's a mistake.
Oh, was that the... Yes, I think that was Pulpit Rock.
Oh, so there was a name for it.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, I had somebody helping me in back, and they used too much of just a crystal malt, and I'm not one to waste. And if it passes the test, then it can go through. So it did. Yeah. And we just had a one-off beer.
It was delicious.
It sounds like it wasn't a mistake.
And I was like, so if it was a mistake, did you write down the recipe? And she said, I don't think they did. I don't think they did.
I do. I actually have all the recipes.
You do? Okay. Yeah. That was a good beer. But right now, during your 5-year, you've just had a new beer release.
Yeah. So we've got Helicopter Cat Dad. We brew this once a year for our birthday. I've actually brewed it twice in 1 year because it just flew out the door and people wanted more of it. But I like to keep it as a special occasion. So we brew this once a year, and it's double dry hopped. There's a bunch of different hops. Our label actually says Sequoia on it, but BSD has stopped making their blend Sequoia.
Oh.
So I took the next best thing, which was Mosaic. There's actually Centennial in here. There's Citra. Galaxy, and then Mosaic. A lot of hops.
Yep.
A lot of good hops.
Yeah.
Well, I can say you did a good job on this because Nick and I are sipping on it right now. And Nick, what do you think? Is it?
That's incredible. I mean, hell of a birthday present for you guys. Might have seen it months ago, but it's very, very good.
And we're not here for a beer review, but I will say this is very, very good. Well done.
Yeah, the flavor profile is amazing. I like how the dank just moves out and the sweetness kind of takes over.
Yeah.
Which is weird for me to say because I usually prefer the dank.
It's not even a week old, so wait till 2 months. We'll criticize it and then basically see if it's still there. But yeah, I love how beer does that. It's fun.
Yeah, God, yeah.
So let's dive into your history. You have a culinary background, correct?
It's true, yes. I went to Culinary Institute of America in Hyde Park. I graduated in 1999.
Okay.
So I was actually in vocational in high school and hotel restaurant management in community college, and then went to the CIA and then worked in New York City. I worked for Barbara Lynch in Boston for 15 years. And I got out of it, met my wife. She was a waitress. I was a chef. And her family owned a vineyard.
Yeah, Taylor Brook.
Yeah, Taylor Brook. So they just turned 20, so it's been around for a while.
Yeah, it feels like it's been around forever.
How does this compare to working in New York City?
I still have nightmares, so...
Wow.
I don't blame you. I've been there twice, and it's twice too many.
I don't watch any of the reality shows there or anything like that, because it would I would yell at the TV.
That's the way I am with prison shows, because I'm a retired correction officer. I watch this stuff and I'm like, no.
I'm a cable guy, so turn the TV on and I'm flipping tables.
Terrible.
Yes.
So you went from New York to having the little brew pub that you had, the Salt Box?
Yeah, so Salt Box, basically I was the head brewer there. I was the director of operations for the restaurant. And, we were still catering. We still had the restaurant, trying to build that business up. And, a little brew pub-ish in the middle of West Concord. And I moved away from there when we were building the business plan here. So I was splitting my time between being the director of operations there, making sure that Chef Ben was running well, and creating the business plan here because, I still need to make money and we need to come up with everything we're doing because doing this was a lot. This is from literally trees on this property to 28 acres of moving dirt. So.
Yeah, I remember before this was even here, because I've been to Taylor Brook, the winery also, long before this was open, because my wife is a very avid wine lover. And I remember those days. So when I came on the property that one time when you guys finally opened, I was like, holy moly, this is from the ground up.
Yes.
I thought it was going to be attached to the winery, but no, this is crazy.
Below the ground up, if they had to move all that dirt.
So do you think you came to Connecticut? Is it because your wife? You married her and came to Connecticut?
Or? Yeah. Her late father-in-law was wanted me to kind of get into it with beer. He was thinking kind of small. I think he was thinking something like the same thing that I was doing in Concord, with around a one-barrel system or so. And what ended up happening was he had passed away, unfortunately, and we decided that we were going to go a little bit bigger. And the winery started small and then grew and then grew and then grew and then grew. We wanted to do something we can grow into as opposed to having to build again, build again.
And you're, of course, talking about Richard Auger.
Auger, yes.
Auger.
Richard, Dick Auger.
Auger.
Yep.
Oh, I'm so sorry.
French
Auger. French. Oh, there it is.
Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
If I knew that part, I would probably
get tripped up by the French.
Okay. And yes, he passed in 2017. So it was his idea to have the brewery to begin with.
Yes.
And then you guys started to go and work on it.
Correct.
Okay. And it's much bigger than what he planned.
Yes. It's much bigger than what he had planned.
Okay. Well, Jess, your title here is sales lead.
Yes.
And what does that mean?
Basically, I take care of all of the outside wholesale sales and distribution.
Okay.
So I drive around pretty much this side of the Connecticut River and check in on the liquor stores, the restaurants, the bars that have our products. And if they need refills, I bring their orders out there.
Wow.
I get new accounts.
That's a lot of traveling.
It's a lot of traveling. We started with probably 25, 30 accounts when I started just over a year ago, and we're probably well over 80 accounts now.
Okay, good job.
There's still some certain areas on this side of the river that I haven't hit fully yet, but it's in the works, and then I'm going to slowly trickle over the river.
Okay, now I was going to say, is there somebody else on the other side of the river? Or
Not yet.
Not yet. Okay, you're just not there yet.
Factions yet.
Okay, and how did you come about Taylor Brook?
It's not my education background. I'm actually hospitality and tourism and psychology are my backgrounds.
Okay.
So yeah, I did work in the restaurant industry for 7 years, and And then I worked in travel for 5 years, and I worked at inpatient rehabs and mental health facilities for 11 years.
Wow.
And then I decided I needed a change. Had a daughter and needed some flexible, so I started working up at the winery in the tasting room. Worked my way working in the tasting room, worked out in the vineyard, did events for the winery, and then about over a year ago, I just started this position.
Okay, so you were already working there. How long ago was that? Did you start there?
I started in September of 2015.
Okay, so you've been here for a while.
I've been here for a while.
This was just like a big collaboration of the family coming together to create this.
Yeah.
And it's fantastic so far. So I'm sure you heard about Labyrinth Brewing.
Yes.
Yes, and they're closing today. This is this is the last day for them. And of course, there's rumors of a lot of other breweries that are going to be shutting down soon. I read an article a couple of years ago. The article stated that 50% of the Connecticut breweries will be closing within 5 to 10 years. And of course, that was 2 years ago. How does all that news, the tension, if you will, the economical tension that you guys are facing, how does that make you think or feel?
I mean, it's scary for sure, but it's life. You can't live your life in constant worry, and you have to take the positives from what we already have. I mean, this is happening to everybody.
Yes.
This isn't just Connecticut. This is Massachusetts, Rhode Island, Vermont. There are big players out there that will survive and do their things, but you have to be able to basically manipulate your business and accommodate other people, what people want.
Yes.
So what do people want? And that's why we're here. We're accommodating them. We're giving them what they want. We give them wine. We give them hospitality. We give them place to come, music, place to gather as a community.
And that's a beautiful thing, because Connecticut breweries are definitely a community. I love being just a small part of that community. Nick and I...
We talk time and time again how it never seems like a competition.
Right. And I mean, it's become my new church, if you will, because the people, they're genuine and they're lovable.
Yeah.
So you must have went through COVID, correct, Jess?
Yes.
Okay. So how do you guys fare in there?
Well, we had just opened shortly before the pandemic hit.
Right.
So we got shut down pretty quick, and then we had to figure out ways to keep the business going during the pandemic.
As sales lead, I mean...
I wasn't in that position at the time.
Oh, you were...
I was up at the winery, yeah.
Okay.
I was working behind the bar.
Okay, so then...
So at that time, what we, by luck, we had 2 operable windows on our patio, and we had a canning line. We were going to slowly grow into the canning, because at that point, beer was on top. I don't know if it's a bubble or not, but beer was on top. That's why we started the business. It was, it was kind of like a win-win situation. People want beer. People want a place to drink it. When COVID hit, they couldn't come inside. And so we had, luckily, 2 operable windows they could order and they could pick up. And so we started canning it for them to go. Having people in the tap room, they're seated. They can have multiple drinks. If it's in the middle of winter when, we first had COVID, a lot of people actually in New England sat in the snow, which was weird and awesome at the same time.
Good old New England.
But it wasn't...
It's New England. We're born in the snow half the time. we don't care.
But it was nowhere near what our capacity could be.
Right.
So that's when we created the position of sales lead. And we hired somebody I worked with Dan Gregoire over at Saltbox, and he was in it for us because, a lot of other places, restaurants, because he was in a restaurant, had to shut down. They couldn't serve anybody.
Right.
So they were eliminating positions. I had a position, so he came over on board for us.
Oh, okay.
And started doing it for us. It was hard to start because we had never done it. We were already wholesaling from the wine end, but it wasn't a giant push.
Right.
We were in liquor stores, whole restaurants, but we weren't pushing for it because it was just like they wanted our wines. Okay, here it is. So we'd have our employees on the way home just drop it off at whatever restaurant, whatever liquor store. And it's
awesome.
only within a 20-mile range. So
Right.
it's within half hour that they could on their way home.
Right. Neat. So you came through and everything's good. You got a thriving business now, correct?
Correct.
And I mean, right now the business is open. There's people here. It's Sunday afternoon.
Correct.
And yes, it is your 5th anniversary, but I have a feeling it's probably typically like this on a Sunday.
I was going to say it's barely Sunday afternoon.
Right.
It's life.
Yeah.
So what we've been finding out is whatever the weather is, what's driving people. It's from a hospitality restaurant person speaking. You see a lot of trends, and I'm not looking at spreadsheets or any numbers or anything. It's just what are people doing? And when the pandemic happened, people were wanting to go outside. They wanted to do things. So as soon as it was lifted, they just came in mass. People came here and they sat outside, they sat inside, they all gathered, and they wanted to be together. As time went on, they started going away. They wanted to take the vacation because they could now. Yeah. So then it dipped.
It was dip again. Yep.
Yeah. And right now it's kind of like it's almost the same thing, but it's half and half. Some people are coming here to vacation. Some people are leaving here to vacation.
What are the future plans here? Do you have any plans to do anything beyond where you are? I mean, like, you thinking about a kitchen? I mean, a culinary experience and.
So we actually do have business within a business. So we have one of our employees, Nick Crosby, who was just graduated Johnson & Wales, and he's working for us in the vineyard. So he's farming for us. But he actually wanted to do his externship here, and we didn't have anything for him, so we created one. So his externship was make our kitchen into a business. So he started his own business using our kitchen. Okay. Had it inspected. He got an LLC, did all his things, and he's still here. Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sundays, if we don't have a food truck, he's working out of our kitchen.
Oh, nice.
Woodstock Sustainable Kitchen is his business.
Nice. That's interesting.
Yeah, so it's actually been really, really great because we found that if there's not food, there's less people. Because people want to eat and they want to drink. Yeah. And it's the same thing with music. If there's not music, you get a little bit less.
Do you think you're going to move away from food trucks?
We want a variety. We don't want to have it all one thing. We definitely would like more of Woodstock Sustainable Kitchen, but there's businesses that bring a different vibe and different clientele. So like we have Cousins here today. Cousins, nationally known. A lot of people, they do a lot of their own advertising and everything like that. So they bring a different clientele and more. So having a Cousins, we're doing it once a month now, is great because it brings new guests in that maybe haven't seen the place. Right. Whereas I'm coming for Woodstock Sustainable, I'm coming for Taylor Brook, and it's over and over, which we love regulars. Right. It's not what I'm trying to say. It's just we need a little bit of variety. Sure. As well.
Absolutely. It's a business. You want to, you got to have variety. So in his establishment, Jess, what is he serving?
He's making sandwiches. He does an awesome BLT, which I had the other day.
I love BLTs.
He makes his own focaccia bread with rye flour.
Okay.
So it has a little bit of a different flavor than your regular focaccia bread that might be seasoned with your pizza seasonings or whatever. He does his own homemade pretzels. He grows a lot of the vegetables right out front. If you walk out front, there's lettuces out there. Along the side, he's got some tomatoes and things like that. So he grows a lot of his own products that he uses in his dishes.
That's awesome.
Yes, that's incredible.
Right? I heard farm to table, but this is from backyard to table.
Self-sustained, yeah.
That is awesome.
He brings in local meats from sustainable farms. He himself is mainly a vegetarian, but he knows that people want a burger every now and then, or they want chicken or whole pork. So he brings those products in from sustainable farms and makes his own.
Beautiful. From local. Okay. That's awesome.
I feel like that's like most breweries. They keep local and they tend to try to give back to the community.
Yeah, we're noticing that. I don't think it's quite as popular as we would like to be. But so is he here this weekend? Is he working? I know you have a food truck today.
No, he's not. He's not here this week.
Bummer.
He was here. He was here this Thursday.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. And how is your relationship with the food truck? I notice a lot of breweries they're so frustrated with food trucks.
It's hard. I get a lot of people asking like, should I start a food truck? I'm like, first of all, don't start a food truck. Start a food trailer because once your food truck breaks down, you don't have any transportation.
Exactly. That's smart
and
advice.
It happens a lot. Yeah. And that is part of the frustration. There's just like any guest that would come in, everybody you don't know their backstory. So every food truck has a different story, whether or not they're pinching pennies or they're just starting out or whatever it may be. If they get a broken down truck, did they purchase the right truck? Was it an old truck? Right. And it happens.
It does.
But I think what the biggest factor with anybody, whether it's a food truck, food trailer, or musician or anything, is communication.
Yes.
The more communication you have, the more time you have in between I can't make it, the better, because you want to inform your staff, your public, your guests, that their expectations. That's where the frustration becomes, is like it's last second and maybe a guest doesn't understand that they had to cancel because of something. They just know that there's no food and they were expecting food.
Gotcha.
Now they have to find something else and there's no food, so now they're going to get hangry.
Jess, are you a big beer fan, or do you like the wine better?
It depends on the season.
The season,
I'm a
okay.
seasonal beer drinker.
Okay.
So summertime I drink more beer. Wintertime I drink more wine.
That makes sense.
I did in college. I worked at a brewery. That was one of my first real jobs. Working at John Harvard's brewery in Manchester.
Ooh, okay.
That is no longer.
Yeah,
Very sad.
yeah, it is sad.
But I'm still friends with the brewer.
Cool.
Down in Virginia now.
Okay.
But yeah, so I did start off with beer and then moved to wine and discovered my love for wine. And I'm gluten avoidant, so I try to avoid gluten, but
Sure.
I will. If on a really hot day, I'll drink beer.
What is your favorite style of beer?
Stouts.
Stouts.
I like heavy, chewy. I like to chew my beer.
All right. Now, see, you and my wife will get along beautifully. She's the same way. She can't drink beer that much because the carbonation it messes with her. But yeah, stouts, that's not a girl. And you, I'm going to put two different questions to you.
Sure.
In terms of making beer,
Yeah.
what is your favorite?
That's, it could come at it from so many different angles. What's going to make the most money? What's going to taste the best? What do I want to drink? What does the public want to drink? I can tell you that the one I don't like is pastry stouts because it's too hard. What's really fun is doing collaborations with other brewers, but really fun is doing collaborations with my wife. Back in 2019, we made a mixed fermentation farmhouse ale. So we made an ale, that we added grapes, we added cider, we added Brett, we added wine yeast, we added a lot of different things, blended it, but we did it together.
Yep.
And it's still here.
You sound like steward of the land now, a little bit there, but
yes.
That's awesome. So here's the other side. Outside of your own beers, if you were going to grab a beer, what would it be? Oh, that was a tricky question, huh?
Yeah, it's. I mean, on the golf course right now, it depends on what the bar has. So my local club up in Oxford, Pine Ridge, I'm drinking Whirlpool.
Oh my goodness!
It's it's low in alcohol.
Right.
It's tasty.
Yep.
It's not super chewy like a hazy
Yeah,
is.
it's lighter.
So it's you could drink a couple and feel okay and not falling asleep or not just sluggish. I can still swing a club.
Well, guys, congratulations on 5 years. Thank you for those 5 years because I've been here quite a few times. I was here when you opened. I was here with a mask on at one point,
Yes.
And I hope you have great success. This is a wonderful spot you guys have here. And the culmination of the two is beautiful because, like I said, my wife and I come here. She's over at the winery and I'm here at the brewery, and that's perfect. I mean, we come together when we have our stuff. It's not like I want her to be away from me. But so this is a great location. Thank you, guys.
Thank you very much.
Absolutely beautiful. Thank you.
I'm Bud from Bud's Beer Blurb.
And I'm Nick.
We'll be tipping one back for you.
Thank you, Ralph and Jess, for giving us some of your precious time and some really good beer. Now, on to Jake and Max of Dad's Day Brewing.
All right, well, a while back, I was at Bad Sons. They were doing an outdoor event, and I was there with the Growler Power people, and right next to our booth were two gentlemen who are homebrewers, and they are Jake Sweet and Max McNall. And if you know anything about me, I don't really go for pilsners. I know anything against them, but they're not my favorite type of beer. And then I was handed a pilsner from these gentlemen, and it blew my socks off. I could not believe how good it was. So, on the show today is Jake and Max. Guys, thanks for coming.
Thanks for having us.
We're just the Papa Pills people up here. I love it. Thanks for having us.
No, you guys, you've been brewing for how long now?
This is our third year, I want to say.
Yeah,
we're not big, keeping track of dates, people, but yeah, it's been 3 years or 3 years, give or take. Yeah, still pretty new.
You've actually named your brewing, which is Dad's Day Brewing.
Yep.
We sure have.
Where did that come from?
So
Dads.
we are dads. Between the two
Breaking
of us,
news,
we have
breaking
5
news.
kids.
Wow.
Yeah.
God bless you.
Yeah, and still somehow find time to make beer.
Yeah, it all started when we had just one kid each. No, just two guys that knew of each other and wanted to do something together. bring people together. And yeah, we thought that, or really it was my original idea. And I'm like, there's no way Jake's going to go for this, or like, think it was fun. Like I was, just a little guy that likes beer over here. Just wanted to try something new. And yeah.
Well, let's back up for a moment. Jake, where are you from?
I'm originally from Franklin Square, New York. It's on Long Island.
Okay, and now you're here in Connecticut.
Yeah, I went to Quinnipiac and stayed for work. I work in North Branford at high school, teach social studies.
And Max, where are you from?
Fairfax, Vermont, which is north of Burlington. No one's okay. A town of 2,000 people. It's okay. No one's ever heard of it. I'm closer to Canada, really, than anything.
I've heard of that.
Yeah. No, originally from Fairfax, Vermont, just like Jake, went to Quinnipiac. We were in the same class, but we're just a year apart. And then met my wife at school, and been here ever since.
And that's where you saying you two met at Quinnipiac?
Yeah, we were in the same fraternity at the time, and then just had kids at the same time, and those connections just kind of formed.
Cool.
Which is really cool.
Cool. And I'm guessing you had a moment where it was, hey, let's open a brewery.
Doesn't everyone who does this?
What is that from? Is that from How I Met Your Mother?
How I Met Your Mother.
Dude,
we should own a bar.
It's a bar, though. It's called.
Remember what they called it?
Puzzle.
Yeah. Why did they call it puzzles?
Yeah.
That's the puzzle.
Mm-hmm.
Yes. So we did have our Barney and Ted moment where Max had experience. That's the question. We'll leave that up to everybody to decide. But Max had been working at Connecticut Valley Brewing and always showed up to our fantasy football drafts with like whole kegs. Now, as somebody who was, in my early 20s at that point, I knew cans of Busch Light and I knew Sam Adams. Kind of had my beer renaissance in my mid-20s.
Okay.
Quarter life crisis, so to speak. But he showed up with all these kegs, and so he was the beer guy.
Oh, yeah.
And, you hitch your horse to people like that.
Oh, yeah.
Sounds so great. The beer guy, man, that sounds awesome.
Yeah.
So
now
great.
you have to share the title.
So great.
Let's talk about that just for a moment. You worked at Connecticut Valley Brewing, and you were their social media specialist?
I forget the title, man. I'm not big on titles. I didn't do any brewing. I worked front house. I did some beer tending. But yeah, my primary job was to be the social media marketing person.
Okay.
So yeah,
I do that also. I'm a social media manager for 3 different clients I have.
nice.
So
My favorite background is I drink beer.
there you go.
There we go. That's a
Big old thumbs up. Yeah.
Right now, you are Wesleyan University Sports Information Director.
Yeah. God.
Okay, now
Can you say that 10 times fast?
No. Where are you directing the information?
The website and social media.
Okay.
Outwardly.
So you're really like a social media manager at heart and by trade.
Listen, social media is part of my job. It's one of my least favorite things about my job.
but he's really good at it.
Yeah, I mean, whatever. No, it's very important. It's where all the students are. It's a big part of what I do. But yeah, I mean, I need help. I have a team of people, mostly students that help me on my journey here. But yeah, it's during the school year. I work very much like a teacher's schedule during the school year. I'm super busy 9 months out of the year, but in the summer, we're pretty much free and clear. So
yeah, the guy across the street's a teacher, and he's on summer vacation. And every day he loads his bike onto his car, and he's gone.
It's a different mindset.
Glorious. It always flies by, but man, it's glorious. Yep.
But you're also a teacher, so you're on summer vacation.
Yes, I am. Yep.
How long have you been a teacher?
I'm going into my 10th year full time, all at North Branford High School. I've been there since 2011, 2012 for my internship.
Okay. So
Yeah, loved it. Never wanted to leave.
are you the cool teacher?
I like to think so. Yeah.
Yes.
Yes,
he is.
At the very least.
So
At the very
funny
least, I'm
story.
a weird teacher.
We had a mole. My wife was she was in grad school at the
forgot
time,
about this.
and she was working on a paper, doing some research, and she attended one of Jake's classes for the day.
She
and
said
and so she's seen it. Jake is the cool teacher. So
Thanks,
confirmed.
bud.
Confirmed.
Appreciate that. Thank you.
Now, as I understand it, you guys are running Daddy's Day Brewing out of 2 garages, your garages, but you have 15 different styles of beers?
At least. So we have we use Brewfather to keep track of our recipes.
Okay.
Mostly they are available in Max's Brain, which I don't have the password for. So I need Brewfather to be able to keep track of things because Max is the real beer head. I have started from square one learning. So we haven't put all of our styles through Brewfather, but we have put at least 15 through.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's amazing. So how do you work this? I mean, you're in Saybrook.
Yep.
You're in Portland.
Yep.
How do you guys correlate?
So we have these things
email,
called
paging.
yeah, it's through our 2-family group chat where we say to the wives what days are available for us to brew, and then they tell us, and then we decide how many batches we could do in that time period. But I mean, we don't do many fests. I think we've averaged 2 or 3 a year. So we're not showing up to everything. There are some that we still haven't done, that we're looking forward to doing eventually if our calendars allow. So what we try to do is punches and bunches. So at Bad Sons, we had six on tap, and then some bottled. And then the previous year we had the same thing, mixing in mead, kombucha, blueberry wine, as well as
if we show up
beers.
to a fest, we have a deep tap list at all times.
Yes.
So you also make skeeter pea.
Skeeter pea.
Skeeter
The
pea.
best.
Which is actually what it's called. It's a style.
We did not make that name up.
No, we didn't.
No, you did not.
We
It's a
can't take
real
credit for that
thing.
one.
It's more of a Midwest thing.
Tell us what skeeter pea is.
Yep.
So it's
Delicious.
So Skeeter Pea, Jake knows the origin of the name better than I do, turns out.
As a history teacher, that's my job.
It's basically like a lemonade wine. It's 10% carbonated. It's delicious. It's
gorgeous.
That's interesting.
Yeah, it's great. I did not bring it with us. It's all gone.
I bet.
Real quick.
It hits hard. People are like, "What is this?" Yeah.
And it goes down really easy.
Yeah.
Very crushable. And also very approachable, bill in terms to make,
super cheap to make.
Yeah.
which we like.
which we like.
Well, we're going to focus on the beer today.
Yes.
So, you've been in competitions before. What, where, and when? What happened?
So we've mentioned Bad Sons a couple of times. We debuted at 12% Homebrew Fest 3 years ago. December 3 years ago. So we've done that twice. We also participated in Hog River's last Homebrew Fest, judged by BJCP judges. And that was such a gut check because we have gone into this knowing that we are people who like beer. And we like people who like beer. But BJCP obviously is like the highest echelon of people who like beer. And
That's the
not very
Beer
well.
Judges Certification Program. Yes.
Yep.
Good job.
They brought us back down to earth, which was an experience that I will never forget and was very valuable.
Okay.
But also was a nice little gut check after we were flying really, really high after 12%.
Hear ya.
So that echelon, do they drink the beer the pinky at, or is there because the beer's at the middle finger, or how does that work?
Unfortunately, we weren't allowed to watch them judge, although probably fortunately for us, because I wouldn't have wanted to see their faces because we got torn apart, and rightly so. The people who ended up winning had excellent beers, and we were just trying out styles at that point. We had a spruce that was very sprucey, but nothing else.
Okay.
We needed an adjacent. So for our next spruce batch, we're definitely going to be adding cranberries or something along that line.
Sweeten it up a little bit.
Yeah, sweeten it up a little bit. Yeah, because it tasted like tree, which was wonderful because that's one of my favorite hops is Simcoe's.
It was chew on trees, so that's right down my alley.
So
I didn't know you moonlight as a beaver.
Oh,
so that spruce was beyond West Coast.
Yeah. Oh, very far beyond.
Oh, yeah.
Yes, it was. It was. You took a bite out
Russia.
of a tree. Yeah.
You also have a monthly mead drop that you are calling "We Have the Meads."
Yeah.
Sort of off of Arby's.
100% off of Arby's. We are introducing this, and he's got the shirt on. He's the beef.
No way.
Right on.
Yeah,
So,
on the beef shirt. You've seen
love
that
it.
in a few photos on Instagram, I'm sure. But yeah. So go ahead, gentlemen.
So one of the things that's helped to separate us from the crowd here is, and it's a wonderful crowd, not that we were trying to move away from it. We've been supported by such incredible people since we've started, from homebrewers like Tim from Highland and Matt from Constellation, but Maxx even had the stones to hit up Apartment Brewer, which is we'd been watching on YouTube for months.
Wow.
And he replied to us and helped us build a recipe. So to pause for station identification here to just give huge props out to the people who support us. But we realized that we like mead. I didn't know I liked mead until Max said, I made some mead. You should try it. And then it smelled like socks. And then I tasted it because I love Max and I trust him. And good golly, it was phenomenal. It was a peach mead.
I got a Viking horn. I need to drink it.
Yes, I think that you have to for your first mead. Your inaugural mead must come from that Viking horn.
It'll put the third hair in my chest.
There it is.
Woohoo, new record.
But the key to what we do with mead is, yes, there are meads, and people know it's like wine, but there's meads that are very low ABV, like 6%, which is what we bring to Fest, and that's the stuff that people, two straight Bad Sons Fest with our keg, the first keg to kick is the mead. Like, it's a great entry to alcohol for a lot of people. Like all the wives, they tend to gravitate toward it that are just there to, be with their, boyfriends or whatever, their groups of friends. But like it hits all the demos, old, young, guys,
people who
women,
people who are
like,
hopped out.
Literally, dogs. I really like making it too because you can do so much with it.
Yeah, and our first mead, that peach mead, we called the neighborhood because the honey actually came from Max's neighbor's house.
Oh, cool.
So like, talk about locally sourced. We're talking about like, Tim the Toolman Taylor peeking over the fence with that guy, and yeah, exactly. And that's where the honey came from. So that's all mead is. Mead is fermented honey water.
Right.
And what we've done is we've added adjacents, and we have hit the ball out of the park, more often than not. And then we had our coffee flavored one that was horrible, but it sounded like a good idea at the time. I thought it was going to be like a chocolate martini. It was not. No, honey and chocolate, it turns out, don't make a good drink, but the rest of them have been awesome.
A green tea would have been good.
Yes.
So you have 15 recorded styles.
Yes. Of beer. Yeah.
And you brought some of those with you?
We did.
Okay.
Yeah.
We're going to pull out some beers and do some tasting right after this.
And now, strange oddities from brewing history. The beer flood of 1814. On Monday, October 17th, 1814, the Horseshoe Brewery had a terrible disaster that claimed the lives of at least 8 people in the St. Giles, London area. A bizarre industrial accident resulted in the release of a beer tsunami onto the London area streets. A 22-foot-high wooden fermentation tank was installed and held together with massive iron rings. This huge vat held the equivalent of over 3,500 barrels of porter brown ale. On that tragic day, one of the iron rings snapped. About an hour later, the whole tank ruptured, releasing the hot fermenting ale with such force that the back wall of the brewery collapsed. More than 320,000 gallons of beer was released into the area. A 15-foot-high wave of beer and debris inundated 2 basements of 2 houses, causing them to collapse. In all, 8 people were killed. But it is believed that there was a 9th death reported 2 days later of alcohol poisoning. True story. This has been Strange Oddities in Brewing History.
We're back, and the gentlemen have beers for us. Guys, what do we have?
So we have a couple. We'll start with New Zealand Pils, the one you've already mentioned. So it's
my goodness,
it's aged a bit farther. It's aged a bit more. And I actually have not tried it in a few months since the Beer Fest. So
now it didn't make a big when you opened it.
It did not.
He's got one of those the old-fashioned
the flip tops. Yeah.
I got a bunch more here.
Oh yeah.
Yep. But no, we get the beers to come have the classic crown top. So
okay. Wow.
And the head on that has persevered.
That is
So you said New Zealand.
Yes.
Correct?
So this is
What personifies that as New Zealand?
the hops that we used.
Okay.
So
It was much more.
yeah, they're all New Zealand grown hops.
Are they noble hops?
Max.
I have to go back to the beer Brewfather recipe.
Oh yeah.
We can look it back up.
Yeah.
Just curious. I mean, because a lot of times when you talk about the New Zealand hops, you want to go and mention the noble hops, of course, the king of hops. But no, you don't have to right now, Max. Don't worry about that. Let's taste this.
I need
cheers.
I need to.
Let them look it up.
Oh, he's got a loop going on in his head. I gotta find this.
I know Rawaka is the main one.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
so, what are we looking for in this beer?
we are looking for the hop forward notes, but we were especially looking for a really smooth body. And I think we found that with the pills.
Okay.
Because we have done, our first brew as Dad's Day Brew Co. was a New England style double. And that was the most complicated brew that we have done to date. Was our maiden voyage. One of our beers is called Maiden Voyage, but it was our first brew.
Okay.
And we knew we liked the hop, but we knew we were hopped out a little bit. We had hop fatigue because we all went through COVID, and I had a packy down the block for me when we lived in Clinton that did mixed packs.
Okay.
So I tried many double IPAs.
Yeah.
And I was still missing something.
Yep.
And we just went for a fruity forward note. And so with this pills, we kind of tried to do the same thing with the hop forward and a smooth body that didn't have kind of like the hop, not burnt hops, but like the overwhelming hoppy flavor from a double IPA.
Okay. So you brought the temp down and then hopped.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep.
So, just so the listeners understand, this is not a beer review. Nick and I are not going to be reviewing it and rating it. This is just here for the simple joy of the beer. So, let's give it a taste.
Cheers, fellas.
Yeah. Cheers.
Rings.
Yeah, absolutely.
Let's give it a taste.
Yeah. So
I've been drinking mine the whole time.
Yeah. See, that's beyond the normal pills.
Yeah,
It
absolutely.
really is.
Cheers,
We
appreciate
were
that.
talking about pilsners before this, and most of them are just run of the mill. Very, very hard to differentiate.
Mhm.
And
This
for us,
one-
that's the it factor is the differentiate. What we can tell between beers. Pick it out of the lineup, and this would be very easy.
Yeah, cheers. I appreciate that.
Thanks.
That means a lot. As home brewers in the state of Connecticut, the competition is very stiff.
Oh yeah.
We're blown away every time we go to a fest with the ideas that people come up with, and this is just our version of Keep It Simple, Stupid, because it's a pilsner. It's a pilsner, but it just has that tweak of a hop.
It does.
Yeah.
And that's what makes it stand out.
Appreciate that.
Really tasty, guys. Good job
Yes.
with this.
Thank you.
Very good job.
And our journey with Pilsner is a long and storied one.
Oh my God, I forgot about that.
Yeah. So our first ever dump, like dumping a batch, was an Italian Pils, correct?
Yeah, it's supposed to be.
Yep.
It ended up being Clorox.
Like we didn't know what off flavors were until you try that one. It just got too hot.
It was supposed to be. It was fermenting in my basement in the same exact spot that one of our beers did over the summer. I think it was actually the Hoppy Birthdays, which was our first beer. It was the double IPA that fermented in the one spot in my basement over the summer. And that was fine. It was ideal. But then when we brewed the Pilsner in preparation for our first competition at 12%, my boiler turned on.
Oh.
And it made the basement very, very warm, which killed off all of the wonderful things in the beer. So it tasted like Clorox. And I called Maxx. I was a mess. It was an emotional mess because I hadn't been doing this for very long. It was a month and a half before our first competition, and I Cloroxed the beer. And Maxx says, "Oh, it can't be that bad. Oh, it can't be that bad. I'll just come over and we'll add adjacent, so we'll call it something else." And then he tasted it, and then he says, "No,
Don't.
open the driveway. That's where this is going right now."
And that's okay, Jake. And that's okay.
Yeah, it turned out okay.
No, this
Because what came of that?
and
You remember
then
what came of that?
since we did the Italian Pils again, and it was just okay. It was super like strawberry yogurty.
Yeah.
It was weird.
So, real quick again, remind me, what's the ABV on this one?
But no.
It's 5.6.
5.6 ABV. That's respectable, especially for a Pils.
Yeah.
And
Oh, yeah,
the fact that I'm still sipping it.
Yeah.
And I haven't just
Yeah, I couldn't help it's gone.
Yeah.
And this
Nevertheless,
was brewed back in like probably February. It's an older Pils.
But that's
it's only done wonders for the clarity. It's
Yeah.
super clear. And the recipe itself, I was looking back up. It's all Pilsner malt. It's really as simple as can be. There was a dry hopping. We used Nova Lager yeast for the first time.
Ooh.
Yeah, I'm a big fan now because we've kind of played with the yeast strains, the previous batches of Pilsners, because you could really do different things. Like you could technically use an ale yeast for a lager brew if you really wanted to do a pseudo lager. But this one, I heard good things about it, tried it. It was it's got such a big wide temperature variance.
Right.
Like you could go a bunch of different ways with it. So yeah.
Well, what's next?
So we have, it's called For You, Dad. It's a beer we made 2 or 3 times now.
Pause for effect.
Nice.
Just bang my elbow.
And for you, Dad, it's so it's the story is funny because it's one of Jake's colleagues at the high school was like, guys, you should
Shout out Nick DeLizio.
Yeah, it was a Lawson's beer, correct?
No, it was a Von Trapp beer.
Vermont Brewery.
So my buddy hits me up from the Von Trapp Brewery and says, you should, he sounds just like that. You should do something like this, but you know what you need maple. And I said, oh, okay, what style is it? And he sends me the menu, and it's Rauchbier. And I'm just like, cockroach? What? So it's a Rauch. It's a German, it's a smoked Rauch with locally sourced from Max's hometown of Fairfax, Vermont, maple syrup.
Time out. You just see Nick's face.
I missed it.
He's sniffing it and going, what the?
Okay.
Probably not familiar with a Rauch.
So Rauch beers are smoked beers. Now we don't smoke.
I gathered as much.
We don't. It's comes from the German style where they would smoke something crazy and then make beer. No, I'm kidding. That was a bad joke. It is
Not bad, dude.
It was. We don't smoke the malt ourselves. We buy the malt that's smoky malt. But the kicker here is that if you smell it, you might get bologna scent or smoked meat because it's the same wood that would be used for the meat.
That's what the face was.
And we have had bologna Rauchs before, and we like to say that there's no bologna with this one.
All right, so what are we looking for in this when we're tasting it?
So the reason why we use maple syrup is to balance out that, to avoid the bologna. Because yes, it's still smoked beer. We want people to know that. But I think the with maple syrup part is important because we add it late in the keg to keep it. So maple syrup ferments out like crazy.
Yeah.
If you use maple syrup in a batch of beer, it's going to ferment out. So you have to add it late in the keg so it still keeps that sort of maple note. So,
yeah. Cool. All right, well, let's give it a taste.
It smells like something I'd definitely sit down and eat. I mean, it smells great.
Get your fork and a knife.
All right. Ooh.
It's thick. But that's good. That smokiness.
It's interesting because it reminds me like of an oatmeal stout.
Yeah, fair enough.
Yeah, but good.
Yeah.
Shots fired.
This is tasty. Well, almost bacon-y kind of.
Yeah.
No,
yeah. So again, like it'd be kind of like the same kind of smoke that you would get out of a smoked meat.
Wow.
That's something I like to have, have a nice Gandalf pipe going.
Oh, there you go. Yeah.
Right, I was going to say, I know there's
there
one
it
right
is.
around here.
You arrive exactly when you mean to.
Wow.
Exactly.
That's really good.
Oh, cheers. Appreciate that. So that was fun. If I could give another shout out, Engineered actually just took a Rauch all the way at, what was that at?
12%.
At 12%. So they just brewed their Rauch on 12% systems.
Okay.
And we had been next to them at our first Bad Sons event. No, it was next to them at 12%. But then Mike just kind of said, hey, give this a go. I said, what is it? He says, just taste it. I trust Mike.
Yeah.
And it was a Rauch, and it was amazing. It was the first Rauch I'd ever had. And I said, I got to try that.
I gotta say, they're popping cherries left and right on me.
Right.
I was going to say, I'm going to do the mead yet.
One more time. The ABV on this again is?
It is, pause for dramatic effect,
5.6.
Also 5.6.
Okay.
We got that down pat.
So the color and the body kind of, they imply a beer that would sit heavy, like an oatmeal stout.
Yeah.
But no, this is light to crush and yeah.
Very, very good.
Thank you.
Yeah.
All right. No,
Appreciate
thank you. And do we have another one?
We do.
So what is this next beer?
This is a pretty straightforward kettle sour.
Nice.
It's got strawberries, hibiscus. Made it for my wife's birthday this past January.
It is red.
Ooh. Yeah, that hibiscus and strawberry really. It's like
my
hibiscus
goodness.
Yep. So yeah, but it's simple kettle sour. 4.2%, I believe.
Okay.
So light. Again, the color is beautiful.
That's a hell of a color.
Crowd pleaser.
I am. I was 100% floored, Bud, when you came up to us at Bad Sons and said I'd love to have you on. But that was a huge compliment in and of itself. But watching your guys' faces is really fun. That's what we're doing it for, man. I mean, we have so much fun at fests, schmoozing, and just meeting people. And
the best.
Now, you know, we haven't been doing it for very long, but we're running into the same people more than once. And people are, you know, bringing their friends. They're like, "Oh, yeah, you were here last year, right? You were the guys with the mead." I was like, "Hell yeah, we were the guys with the mead."
Well, that's one thing him and I talk about all the time. It's just everyone in this industry is awesome.
Oh,
yeah. I mean, we say competition, but I mean, we're really, everyone's working together.
It's just big kids playing in the playground.
Exactly. And most of the criticism's constructive. It's not like, oh, you guys suck ass, you know?
Yeah.
Everyone's been great.
And what are the notes that we're looking for?
Strawberry business.
Hibiscus.
So it should be strawberry forward, but that hibiscus is that undertone tannic note that makes it not super sweet. And there's a little bit the sour you might be able to detect in the nose, but I mean in the taste it's not super sour or anything. So
the sour I'm picking up on.
All right, yeah.
Let's give it a taste.
Cheers.
Woohoo! That is definitely a sour, and that strawberry. So when you have a young strawberry and it's tart still, that's this. Mm-hmm. That is gorgeous.
Oh yeah.
Yep, it's exactly mission accomplished in terms of my wife loves strawberries and hibiscus. So I'm like, you know, let's try this in a beer form. She loves sours too, so really it was the obvious choice in terms of that. But it was so good that we rebrewed it for Bad Sons, and really it's again we have a go-to sour recipe. We've made several kettle sours. This isn't the only one. We've had several iterations. It's great because again it's like mead's very customizable. So
It's funny because like Jim Wolfinger at Almost Famous, he's the one that really kind of like, come on, try this sour, and okay, yeah, I'll give it a shot. And I've come to appreciate sours. Of course, like I had one from East Hartford Brewing, and of course, you know that gentleman's a master brewer, so his sour is impeccable. This. Guys, you're right up there.
Thanks, man.
Yeah, no, this is incredible.
It's an incredible compliment. I appreciate that.
Taste,
appreciate that big time.
Dare I say this is sexy?
Dare, my friend. Dare away.
Only you.
We will put that on all of our media moving forward.
Nick said.
Nick from Bud's Beer Blurb said, very sexy.
And that's why I have Nick. All right. This is wonderful, guys.
No, it's a good time. And if I mean, you were there, Bud. You know, we put our beers out on display for a reason. It's for the sticker shock, for sure. It's to separate ourselves from a competition that's very stiff, especially because we just happen to fall into a group of friends that were going to do crazy freaking things.
Right.
Like Tim at Highland is taking home medals like you wouldn't believe. And Matt at Constellation is doing the same thing, and they're getting judged, and they're sending us their BJCP notes, and we're like, yeah, that one time we were about a third of your score, but just we need to separate ourselves, and so the sticker shock helps.
You have honest
cheers, thank you, I appreciate that.
Very good. Yep. Is there any others?
That's it for today.
Other than
the mead's here.
The mead that we started with,
but beer related. That's it.
Yeah.
What's the future for you guys? I mean, are you going to take this to market, or are you thinking about a brewery? Let's open a brewery.
Well, right now I'm just trying to figure out which taster I'm going to finish first. But down the road, you know, part of our dream was to be able to open a place, like a real venue, because we love doing this, and as much as we both love our current professions, like we're both really good at what we do in terms of professional stuff. This kind of a dream with this kind of support in the market that we're in, it just seems like what we're meant to do.
Well, yeah, I can taste that. I mean, you teach prohibition, so you can't really stay in that field for much longer. I guess, so.
Yeah, I got to practice what I preach, I guess.
Yeah, exactly. You just you skip that chapter.
Yeah, that was history.
Yeah, and not for nothing, but working in a school, I work with plenty of people who just need a weekend cap, and so they have been our very supportive guinea pigs. in this thing is like, I will drop beer off at their house. And that's, so, I mean, long term, we'd love to open a place.
Well, if you need more guinea pigs.
Yeah, here we go. Guinea pigs abound. Much more short term, though. We are starting a monthly mead drop over the summer. We're going to be, July is going to be our first month. We are calling it We Have the Meads, which the Supreme Court just said that parody speech is protected free speech. Mm-hmm. So if anybody's concerned that Arby's is going to come after us, we don't have any, wait for it, beef with them. But no, we want to do that summer mead drop. We have the mead is already brewing right now. Max, remind me of the flavors.
Drum roll. We have blueberry, we have peach, and we have my favorite, strawberry vanilla.
Yes. Beautiful. So we want to transition eventually into like a seasonal drop. And what we tell people, what we've told people at fests is that if we have anything left over, you find us on socials, you hit us up, and if you're a respectable distance, we'll drop it off at your house.
Wow.
And if you're not, then we'll meet you halfway. Huh. And so, we want to be able to market our stuff because we have so much fun making it, and we have had so many people offer us such incredible support that we would be really, really stupid not to cash in on this as best we can. Yeah. Which is funny to say cash in because it's illegal to sell homebrew in the United States of America. So what we tell people is like, you're really just helping us do market research. You like to drink. You're willing to take a chance on your friends. And
you're going to set up like a beer
we'll
Uber,
do the fun stuff.
Just drop meat at people's houses.
Yeah, and I mean, calling it boober probably isn't the best idea. Or maybe it is a great idea. Right? People accidentally find us in their search engines. Yeah.
Well, the Supreme Court has ruled no. There's actually a meadery right here in Coventry.
Really?
It's called Dragonfly Meadery, and as I understand it, they're very popular. They've got a lot of customers that go to their little location, and yeah, I've actually
right on.
I've been there.
We might have to make a pit stop on the way home.
There's one in Middletown too called Bergen House, and they're in stores now. So it's definitely, and they've only been in operation for less than 2 years. So it's cool. It's the word's getting out. So we'll do our part.
Yeah. All right, guys. Well, I have a little surprise for you. I have here actually is something that I brewed.
Heck yeah.
Ooh.
Yeah, this is my Irish Red Ale, and I'd love to have you guys try it.
Heck yeah. So,
Jake, okay. I'll let him talk.
As a self-proclaimed Irish American, well, I actually am, but anyway, I did a semester abroad in at the University College Cork, and while I was in Ireland, I never found an Irish Red I liked.
Oh, no kidding.
And I hate to say it, but like Killian's has my heart so far.
Oh.
Which sets the bar in a very interesting place.
I'm very Irish myself. I'm 95% Irish.
Oh, you got me beat.
Matter of fact, the DNA test said most people in Ireland aren't as Irish as you are. So I have this Irish Red Ale. Ready?
Nice.
That was very nice. Very nice.
Yeah, that was gorgeous. Now I got to ask, did you match the bottle to your shirt on purpose? The bottle cap?
Yes.
Yeah, there we go. That's
bottle cap.
That is branding.
All right. Yeah, got to keep the branding going.
Ooh, that looks pretty.
So.
Oh yeah.
Don't worry, Nick. I got you.
He's about to go Mulan on me. He's about to make a man out of me. That looks good.
Get down to business.
Yes.
So,
let's crush
you guys just
these beers.
Tell me what you think.
Super interesting nose. Not yours, but just.
Thought maybe.
Can't make me laugh while I'm sipping, dude. Ooh. Whoa. What is the fruit tone at the end? That's clean.
Fruit tone? You getting a fruit tone? See, it's funny.
But then again,
the nose is very fruity to me, which I thought was interesting.
Okay,
but on the taste, none of that fruit.
I could crush this.
I already am. So.
Yeah, it's funny because when the
carb on it's perfect.
Announce that this is done, like I don't do that anymore on social media, but when I used to announce it was done, I'd have like family members showing up that I hadn't seen in years,
I can understand why.
But yeah, this is my go-to brewing that I do.
Heck yeah. What do you call it?
Beer.
Nice.
Yeah, it's just my red Irish ale.
Love it.
The one note, it's a crusher, and it's got the undertone malty. I would say
maybe that's what I get.
Yeah, I mean it's a little sweet, but the finish is just so crisp.
Cool.
It's so crisp.
I'm glad you like it. All right.
Cheers, man.
Right on. Thank you for that. Mine's gone already.
All right, well, guys, I'm gonna have to say that's all we have time for. But thank you so much for coming all the way out here because I know. Driving from Old Saybrook is a bit of a cruise, it was
pretty.
I mean, driving from one end of Connecticut to the other, it's really not a big deal, but it's not like Texas, right?
No.
Still, it's a little bit of a travel, so I appreciate you both coming this far and stopping into the studio here and for bringing us fantastic mead and beers. Thank you so much.
Well, thanks for having us.
Our pleasure.
It's been so much fun.
Fantastic. It was our pleasure, having you. This is all great.
Cheers.
Thank you, Jake and Max, for coming out to the studio to hang with me and Nick and to provide us with some very unique and amazing beers. Well, there you have it. Episode 10 is in the books, and it's out there for all to behold. Well, I wanted to thank you, the listener, for taking the time to listen to our show. And hey, whatever platform you're listening to us, why don't you go ahead and hit that subscribe button? We'd greatly appreciate it. Well, I'm Bud from Bud's Beer Blurb. Until next time, I'll be tipping one back for you.